Hello, I'm Mike and welcome to my channel. Today is the first in a series that I'm calling Picture This. What I've done in the past is taken a photo that I particularly like and tried to see if I could get autographs to go along with them and put them, mount them on the walls of my memorabilia room. It first started by trying to get as many players that I wanted to get into one photo that would take up the same amount of space as one photo, one player photo, so that I could get multiple autographs into the same amount of space. Basically, doubling or sometimes tripling the wall space real estate, as it were. In this case, this is one of the first ones I did, and it was a photo that really struck me. I really liked it. And I knew right away that the player in the black uniform was Rube Marquard, a Hall of Famer, or in this case it would be future Hall of Famer. I didn't know much about the other player. It turned out to be Paddy Livingston. But this is from the 1911 World Series. And they just seem especially chummy, like they're lifelong friends or known each other for a long time. But I always wondered, like, what kind of relationship that was. They're just, usually you see adversaries, even if they're friendly, during like a World Series, you don't see that kind of like joyous look on their face, like they're having a good time or they just are buddies. So it caught my curiosity, to say the least. So, and this is why I like stuff like this. It's because you get a chance to do some research and answer your questions. And sometimes it just takes you down a rabbit hole and you find out things that you never knew about some of these players. But anyway, like I said, this is the 1911 World Series, and I just figured it was one of two things. Either they were former teammates on a previous team, or maybe they were hunting buddies. A lot of those players back in the day, they went hunting together in the off season. Of course, I never did find anything about the hunting, but I also could not find anywhere in the major leagues where they played together. So that got me kind of curious. So fortunately, I was able to find a couple of biographies on the Sabre website, and they did a real good job. And it turns out that they were both teammates in the minor leagues on the Indianapolis team in 1908. And up to that point, Marquard had done a pretty good job. He wasn't like a dominant pitcher by any means. But in 1908, he went 28-19 with a 1.69 ERA. And it turns out Paddy Livingston caught every one of his games, including a one-hitter and a three-hitter. So that really caught the attention of the major league teams and started a bidding war for Marquard. And Indianapolis really held their feet under the fire. And eventually the New York Giants got Marquard for $11,000, which was a lot of money back then. I think the next highest bid was $7,000, $7,500. The problem was they also wanted to get Paddy Livingston because they had seen what a good job he had done with them, with Marquard. As a matter of fact, later on, when Livingston went to the Oakland A's, when he went to the Philadelphia A's, he caught players like Plank and Bender, Chief Bender. Sorry about that. I had a just total brain fart. Anyway, so he was a highly regarded defensive catcher and handling pitchers. Just wasn't a big hitter. But anyway, the Giants wanted Livingston also, and so Indianapolis thought they'd worked once, they'll work again. So they wouldn't sell him to the Giants unless they purchased him for the same price of $11,000, which was ridiculous. And so they didn't take him. They ended up getting another catcher by the name of Chief Myers. And Myers had a real nice career, 9 seasons, 7 of which with the Giants. And so that was that. So the following year, Livingston ended up being sold, and I don't think for very much money, to the the Philadelphia A's. And so the rest is kind of history. A couple of other things that are interesting about this photo, or this year anyways of the photo, 1911. Paddy Livingston played in the benefit game that summer for Addie Joss's family after Joss had passed away. I thought that was interesting, considering I also found out that during their playing time, Joss had hit Livingston in the head with a pitch. And I guess Livingston had a pretty hard head. But so that was one thing I found that was kind of interesting. The second thing was that these are the two last, or were the two last living members of players that were in the T206 set. So kind of thought that was pretty good. Anyway, this was pretty inexpensive thing to put together back several years ago, and it actually probably still would be today. I think I paid, between the Rube Marquard and the Paddy Livingston autographs, I think I paid about $40 for it. Matting was, it's a single mat, pretty inexpensive at your local frame shop. And the frame was from a local, outlet store that had frames. So very inexpensive to put together, but I think it looks pretty good. I think even today, the two autographs you could probably get for $65, maybe $70 at the most. The picture itself, you'll see copies of this and many other types of photographs on eBay. But what they don't tell you is, if you find an autograph or a photograph that you like and you just put their names out on the internet, a lot of times the photos will pop out. And a lot of times those photos can be found on the Library of Congress website. And you can print out some pretty high quality photos. They have different quality of JPEGs, but they also, a lot of them are in TIFF mode, which is basically RAW, which is very high quality, which is what this one is. So going down that little rabbit hole, I found out why they look like they're buddies, and think it makes for a good overall presentation. And hope you enjoyed this first episode of Picture This.